Hey friends, how's it going? Welcome to beautiful Vietnam, Da Nang. Here at my favorite spot today. I did 10 laps from these ropes to the other side there. My morning routine. The beach is absolutely beautiful today. It's about 11 a.m. A little bit of people here, but not much. It's really cool. Anyway, today I want to talk about hero to zero syndrome. It's a very common, let's say, effect that happens when you reach a goal that you've been working on for a very long time, or you have an amazing gig, which is kind of the same thing, or in a sort of a bunch of other reasons. You know, you could reach a pinnacle in your life about something, and then once it's realized, you have this like incredible downward spiral of despair. It's very common. I've gone through it a lot, you know. I think we've all gone through it, probably, if you've been around long enough in this business, or if you're an artist of any kind. I was with a friend of mine in New York who had just gotten off a gigantic tour. I mean, playing in front of thousands and thousands of people in Japan, you know. And he got back to New York, and we hung out the next day, right after he got back, and I was so proud of him. You could feel the vibe, you know. He was very happy, and you know, we walk into this supermarket to buy water, and we're waiting in line, and this little old lady starts yelling at my friend. Is that all you're gonna get? Because I have to get these things. Let me go by first. You know, she was a real pain in the ass. And so we were, you know, went from hero to zero in no time flat. It was pretty funny, actually, because you know, if only that lady would have known what he'd been through in the last month. Thousands of screaming fans, and then, you know, she treats him like that. Pretty funny, actually. I had to laugh. But anyway, that's one kind of hero to zero. Another, well, like I said, if you accomplish something that you've been working on for a long time. A friend of mine is an artist, and she had a very nice exhibition, you know, very successful, lots of people, blah 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 blah. And the next day she falls like into a, you know, this thing we call hero to zero. Kind of a depression, kind of sadness, emptiness. It's very common in many fields, right? Another sort of hero to zero that can happen is that, you know, it happened to somebody in my family. They retired, right, after being in business for 50 years. I mean, a massive business running with hundreds of employees, you know. He retired, and now he's like on the couch watching TV. Can't get out of this cycle of getting on the couch and watching TV. I mean, it was a slow decay, and also pronounced because he got sick and couldn't move for a while, and all, you know, one thing after another, and then you know, his health deteriorated, and he couldn't, like, he wasn't as mobile as before. And so one of the things we were talking about with him was that he feels like he has nothing to do. He can't take it anymore, sitting around watching, you know, movie after movie, or just not having a goal, a plan, you know. And it's very, very disturbing to, I think, to be like that. So it's a pity, you know. I told him, well, you know, try photography, try drumming, try painting. You know, my mother, she loves to paint, so that keeps her occupied. But he didn't have an interest in any of those things. So hero to zero, you know, because of life circumstances and retirement and other things can happen as well. We don't know how lucky we are to have an instrument in our lives that can be worked on for the rest of our lives until we're gone, you know, or something happens, you know, but we can always work on it. There's always something to do, and it never ends. You know, to have that passion is absolutely a gift from the universe, because believe me, I've seen the other side where people have nothing to do and they go insane, they go crazy, they feel desperate, lonely, without passion, you know, just trying to latch on to something in life that will give them meaning and stuff like that, you know. So it's very interesting for me and my personal life, you know. I sometimes feel like if I don't play for a while, I start to like have music in my head all the time. All these songs come into my head all the time, and I'm constantly thinking of songs in my head, and that I can't get rid of it. You know, it's like a constant bam, bam, bam. You know, it's weird. I guess it's some kind of, my brain is like saying, okay, we need to fucking play some music, man. We need to play. We need to do something. And you know, there starts to be this like disconnection, and I get this feeling of almost as if a foreboding feeling, you know, weird, really weird. And then of course I play again, or I slowly get on the kit, I start to practice even on the pad, you know, I start to practice, and that fire starts to come back little by little, that connection. And you know, geez, that's a gift. But when I feel that despair, that loss of connection, man, that's wacky. That's a feeling of 0 to 0 for me. Also, there's been many times where I just have a fantastic concert, you know, a really great concert, and then 2 days later, I'm like, oh shit, now what, you know? That's weird too. So one thing I've discovered, you know, and that's very useful, is I've talked about this before, but it's very, very important, I think, to have a parallel art form that you can draw from. For me, it's photography. I absolutely, you know, love photography. It's part of my life. I've been at it for 15 years. I work professionally as a photographer as well. Yesterday, I did a shoot for a fashion designer here in Vietnam, for example. And the day before that, I played at a big event in Hoi An. So, you know, in a city, a very big touristy city with a huge event and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's great to have something that feeds into your main thing, drumming or whatever it is. A parallel art form will help you stay connected to passion, to whatever fire it is that that moves you, you know? That's my advice for combating whatever it is, whatever the feeling is that gives you that 0 to 0 feeling. Now, that's in special circumstances, right? Obviously, if you're gonna gig again, if you know that more gigs are coming, you know, then you latch on to that. But in our business, you know, you never know what's coming. So a parallel art form is very, very interesting. You can develop it way before you retire. You know, you can develop it somewhere in the middle of your career, or, you know, towards the end. Whatever passion you have for something, and start investigating it and start getting into it. You never know, you might really love it, whether it be video production or, you know, some kind of art or cooking. You know, you can start your own taco cart somewhere. These guys make a lot of money, by the way, I think. Yeah, that's what I would do. Finding a parallel art form is the perfect solution for somebody who's aiming to retire, you know, but is in danger of having that feeling 0 to 0. Okay, so I think also that, of course, it's kind of an illusion, you know. It's kind of imposed this thing. We do it to ourselves. It's all mental, you know, mental masturbation, let's say. Because the reality is that time passes, and it has almost nothing to do with one gig or the other, or one day at a time, you know, stuff like that. We do this to ourselves because who knows what reason, you know, who knows what reason we have to feel like losers or winners or whatever. I try not to let it, like, if I have a great gig, I try not to let it affect me at all. It's just wash it clean the next day. I don't, whatever. Even in general, let's say in general, boy, there's a lot of wind today. I hope you guys can hear me. In general, I don't like to live on my accomplishments, you know, rest on your laurels, as they say. I don't like to tell anybody what I've done. You know, my like little fantasy is to go to a really small town, like disappear to a really small town and like start over as a drummer. And nobody knows me. They just hear me play and see what happens from there. You know, it'd be very, very interesting to see what happens. Of course, it's just a fantasy, because when you do that, you know, you're subject to a whole other series of things, like being judged by people who have never done anything and are in a small town and don't know anything. Yeah. So that's kind of what I discovered, you know, like for example in Vegas, where the playing level is really abysmal except for a few players, and then you know, you're having to deal with these people on a day-to-day basis if you're gigging with them. Fortunately, I played with good, for the most part, good players. I played, you know, for the most part jazz, or they didn't get too involved in the lounge pop band thing. That doesn't even exist anymore. I did one gig that was okay, that was great actually, with this guy singer Michael Fitzhugh, and really good players. But in general, I tried to really stayed away from the graveyard, the Vegas graveyard situation. Well, that's what happens. You get sucked into that, and suddenly you're like being judged by these total hacks. So that's another hero to zero kind of a situation that you can put yourself in if you're not careful. You know, surrounding yourself with the wrong people. Very interesting, actually, very interesting. Okay, guys, those are my thoughts for today from beautiful Da Nang, Vietnam. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you could hear me despite the wind. And yeah, peace out. See you soon.